A desperation heave by Lane Kiffin, and the governor is involved. I'll give you the latest. Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We're free, available wherever you get great podcasts. Of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. And as always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. Thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for watching on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network every single weekday. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Let me just not bury the lead at all. Jordan Seaton, the 5-star, #1 offensive tackle in the transfer portal, left his visit from LSU Tuesday morning without signing with the Tigers. That is the biggest news to know. Now, there's a lot of subsequent questions. Does that mean LSU's out of the running? No. Lane Kiffin threw up a desperation heave Tuesday night to get back in the mix. I'll give you the details in just a second. The governor is involved, and if LSU lands the plane, so to speak, with Seaton, he will deserve an assist on this one. And with the deadline to enroll in the spring semester now passed, does that mean that even if you land Seaton, could he even participate in spring? I've got all those answers. Okay, just give me time and I'll work through all of it for you. Okay, let's just start with the most immediate. Okay, so Jordan Seaton left his visit Tuesday morning from Baton Rouge. He flew to Atlanta. Seaton's uncle, now why did he go to Atlanta? I have no idea. I do not have that answer. I wish I did. Seaton's uncle posted on his Instagram story 2 different times pins from Atlanta. Once near the airport and the other in Buckhead on Tuesday late morning. So they landed in Atlanta, presumably. The first one was around 9 a.m. Central, 10 Eastern, 10 Atlanta time. So that tells you about an hour or so flight from Baton Rouge to Atlanta, maybe a little bit more, depending on how fast the plane was going. So probably left Baton Rouge around 8 a.m. Central. So got up Tuesday morning, flew out of here. The day went along, and there really was no conversation around what was going on with Seaton. We were all waiting for LSU, presumably, I know I was, to drop some type of commitment announcement. You've had a lot of different outlets report that this was going very well and that Seaton likely to end up at LSU. And by all accounts, it felt that way after Monday. Remember, Monday was the day when Seaton visited the governor's mansion. Again, I had a conversation on Tuesday with Governor Landry, a brief conversation, but I will relay to you what he told me in that conversation and why he deserves some credit here if LSU gets this done with Seaton. We'll fill you in on those details in just a second. So for all those reasons, yes, should have felt confident. I mean, Seaton was supposed to be on a plane Monday. He came to Baton Rouge Sunday, had dinner Sunday night, was supposed to be on a plane Monday to Eugene, Oregon. Canceled that visit. Stayed all day Monday in Baton Rouge. And only Tuesday morning did he leave. And he didn't go to Eugene. He didn't go to Coral Gables. He went to Atlanta. Again, I don't know what's in Atlanta. I don't know why he went to Atlanta. He's from the D.C. area, then went to IMG Academy, then went to Colorado for his first 2 years of college. I don't know why he was in Atlanta. But Lane Kiffin clearly got wind of the fact that Seaton went to Atlanta. And this is where Lane Kiffin deserves a tremendous amount of credit for being relentless. Lane Kiffin got on a plane on Tuesday night and flew to Atlanta, presumably to see Jordan Seaton. Lane Kiffin posted on his Instagram story from a private plane with the flight tracker screen and kind of like a thinking emoji, like wonder where I'm going sort of thing. And then later posted on his Twitter, headed home, the flight tracker again from the East Coast heading south toward Baton Rouge. Well, Lane Kiffin tagged MMR in these posts. If you're flight tracker savvy, you can find the MMR planes and where their destination was. So the MMR plane left Baton Rouge, went to Atlanta, from Atlanta back to Baton Rouge. Right around 10 o'clock Central Time, PM, Kiffin posted a video from the MMR hangar of MMR has 3 planes. MMR is $1 billion annual company. They're enormous. Pepper Rutland, the president, CEO, founder of MMR, was former LSU team captain, linebacker in the 1970s. It's a great supporter of LSU athletics naturally. And a tremendous person as well. By very brief interactions with Pepper Rutland, have been outstanding, and I've only heard wonderful things about him. So, and clearly a great supporter of the Tigers, allowing Lane Kiffin here to use his plane on a whim here to go to Atlanta to try to recruit Jordan Seaton. And I do want to be clear that I do believe that's why Kiffin was flying to Atlanta, was to see Jordan Seaton. I do believe that is why he was there. Now, that's a desperation heave, but it worked with Sam Levitt. Remember, 2 Fridays ago, Lane Kiffin got on a plane, flew to Knoxville, Tennessee, met Sam Levitt at the airport when Levitt was finishing his Tennessee visit before he was going to Miami. And at that time, Miami was getting ready to play in the national championship game, had an awful lot to sell. An outgoing quarterback playing in the championship game, all that sort of stuff. Miami and Lane Kiffin, despite having previously taken his eye off the ball with Levitt and anger and really upset Sam Levitt, as we've talked about, still got Levitt back. So I am not discounting in any way Lane Kiffin's ability to land Jordan Seaton and get him on board at LSU. What's that going to take? That I want to delve into a little bit in just a moment, because I think that's where the governor probably comes into play here that I'd like to explain. But I think, if nothing else, if you're an LSU fan watching this or listening to this, your takeaway should be, hold up. LSU, after this, with the number 1 portal class in the country already, the number 1 tackle was visiting Miami days before the national championship game. He leaves Miami and flies to Baton Rouge. He was only supposed to be here for less than 24 hours and then go to Eugene, Oregon. Not only did he not go to Eugene, he stayed the entire day Sunday, entire day Monday before only leaving Tuesday. And then when you didn't get him, your coach got on a plane and flew to find him in Atlanta to go get more FaceTime with him. You got a dude right now that is relentlessly pursuing a championship. And, Lane Kiffin spoke at a leadership luncheon put on by the Baton Rouge Business Report on Tuesday morning. And it was one of the things that he talked about in this presentation, where he said, he felt like he was working really hard at the place he was before, meaning Ole Miss, but the expectation in this new job has lit a fire under him to go even harder, even more, to push even more. It's pretty evident with how he handled Sam Levitt and now how he's handling this Jordan Seaton situation. So again, here, as of Tuesday night, as we're recording this, Jordan Seaton still has not signed with LSU. To the best of my knowledge, he has not signed with anyone. He left LSU, went to Atlanta. Lane Kiffin went to Atlanta to get more FaceTime with him, presumably one final swing. We'll see what happens with that. Now, I want to break. And when I come back here in just a quick moment, I want to catch you up on the conversation I had with Governor Landry on Tuesday afternoon and what that meant for how LSU continues pursuing some of these elite level prospects. We'll get to that here. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. College football playoff is here. Well, now it's actually gone. FanDuel has given all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs. Right now, every college football playoff game day or NFL playoff game day, you can get your profit boost waiting for you in the app. And here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on the bets you already feel good about. So ride with the favorites when you think a team controls the matchup. Take a shot on the underdog if you feel an upset coming, or build a parlay around the players and moments you think decide the game. Then you apply the profit boost and go after even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for NFL playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get in on the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your NFL playoff profit boosts every game day. That's at FanDuel.com. I'm going to give you the details of my conversation with Governor Landry here in just a quick second. But I want to thank you, of course, for making Locked On LSU your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, please go check out our new Everydayer Club. I've gotten so much good feedback on this. It gives you access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On LSU. It's compatible with Apple, Spotify, all the podcast apps, and an invite to a members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server. So it includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. So tap the link in the show notes if you'd like to learn more. And again, thanks for making Locked On LSU your first listen every single day. Just a moment ago, I referenced Lane Kiffin speaking at the Greater Baton Rouge Business Report, a leadership luncheon, and talking about how this job has challenged him to go to new levels. This was that soundbite. He starts it by referencing the conversation he had with Nick Saban whenever he was considering taking this job. Give a listen.
And when I called Coach Saban and talked it through with him, he said, Lane, you'll always regret if you don't go to LSU. It's the best job in America. And when he said that, that really made the decision for me. And as I've looked at it, it has pushed me. It has got me out of a comfort zone that we were doing amazing things, but you come here and you feel the power of the place, and it drives you every day to even go to another level.
Think about that. Think about what he said. So that was Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, he's saying the power of the place drives you want to go to a new level. Well, later Tuesday morning, Jordan Seaton flies to Atlanta. Well, what does Lane Kiffin do? He gets on a plane and follows him. That's taking it to a new level. Now, the other thing Lane Kiffin said in this the speaking engagement at this luncheon, again, hat tip to Julio Malera at the Greater Baton Rouge Business Report for getting Lane Kiffin there. I'll remind you that Lane Kiffin flew to Baton Rouge on a Sunday, had his introductory press conference on a Monday. The only time since that introductory press conference, 7 weeks ago, the only time that Lane Kiffin has spoken publicly outside, he's been on Twitter, but spoken publicly, was the interview he gave during the LSU bowl game on December the 27th. That's it. He's done no press conferences, no press conference on signing day, no press conference to introduce his staff, no press conference pre-portal, nothing. He hasn't gone to McAfee. He's done nothing. Zero. So this is a big deal, getting Lane to sort of come out of hibernation in his out of his cocoon there at Football Ops to go give this speaking engagement. But the thing that struck me, the two things, was what you just heard there was him talking about this job pushing him to a new level. The other is when he talked about the community at large, the LSU community, and how they are assisting in recruiting. And I thought of this because of what happened with Jordan Seaton on Monday going to the governor's mansion. So I mentioned I had a conversation on Tuesday with the governor, very brief. I'm going to tell you what I said, but I want to play this because I want this to be the preamble to what I'm about to tell you.
It is really neat. The few places that I've been with recruits, the community understands how to recruit. It's really amazing being at these restaurants and owners come up and they go to the kids. And I've been at places before we actually have to coach them how to recruit. Like, hey, we're going to bring these kids, hey, when you come up to them, this is their position. They'd really like this. This is their major. And then I go here and they already know it, So the community's been amazing that way. And the parents especially feel it. They feel like the love and the support from the community and how much they want to win and how much to support them. So I think just when you keep that up, our staff feels that, and that works down through the players and through the recruits, and everybody feels that.
And it's not just restaurant owners they've been amazing. We've talked about a lot of them. Many of these restaurant owners are good friends of mine. I've got a great deal with Supper Club, but Stabs Prime, Kevin Kimball, Leo Verde, our friends over at Rufino's with Shelly Melansaw and Howard and the whole group over there. Phil's Oyster Bar. A lot of these places, Anthony Piazza, a lot of these places have been the ones that have hosted these LSU recruits, and they've done a fantastic job. But it's gone up to the governor as well. And so what I was told, and if you're an everydayer, you caught our previous episode, I joked, and some of you call me Sherlock Scone and all, because I reverse engineered what happened based on what I had been told, and then some Instagram stories and stuff like that. And ultimately what it came down to is pretty clear. Lane Kiffin was at the governor's mansion, and so was Jordan Seaton on Monday afternoon. And I deduced that the LSU staff, Kiffin, took Jordan Seaton to the governor's mansion. Now, when I started to pry a little bit about that, one of the things I was told, and I don't want to report this because I haven't been able to directly confirm it, but I was told that maybe the reason Lane Kiffin was bringing Seaton to the governor's mansion was to ask the governor for help in filling a little bit of the gap, right? As you've heard me say, this portal class has been a very heavy lift financially. You got 40 players now signed via the portal. So you're talking about your quarterback cost you north of $5 million. You are talking about an epic haul here. Lane Kiffin in that the engagement we're just talking about called us the greatest portal class ever, and he's not wrong. So you would love to land Jordan Seaton and Princewill Umanmielen, but can you afford it? Like, at some point, you don't have endless resources. So what I was told is that Lane Kiffin called the governor to ask for help in this instance. And so the governor hosted Seaton and Seaton's uncle and Lane Kiffin and Lane's nephew there at the governor's mansion on Monday. And so I wanted to ask the governor that question directly about, did he make phone calls to help potentially supplement financially with donors or business owners around the state that could help supplement third-party NIL? Now, he would not answer that question directly in the phone conversation that I had with him. And candidly, we only had about 4 or 5 minutes to speak. It was during my radio show. I was in a top of the hour break, so I literally had like 4 or 5 minutes. That's all we spoke. So it was a very quick conversation. But what he did tell me was, Matt, if I can help LSU, I'm willing to do what I can to help LSU win. That's what he said. Now, he didn't go into any detail about finances or donors, any of that stuff. And I asked him, and that's fine, and I respect that. But his answer, and he said he had a great conversation with Jordan Seaton and with Jordan Seaton's uncle, and made his pitch for LSU and for Louisiana and for Baton Rouge. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think, now I'm editorializing, okay? I'm giving you an opinion here, okay? I want to be very clear that I'm not reporting anything. I'm giving you an opinion. I don't think that Lane Kiffin and Jordan Seaton and his uncle went to the governor's mansion to look at the beautiful tapestries. Okay. I think you have a governor who is a very savvy politician, a very smart man who has some incredible donors, which is why he has the war chest that he does, and is a few phone calls away from maybe raising money to fill the gap if need be. I'm editorializing. I want to be very clear. Okay. I do not know this for a fact. I am giving you my opinion, piecing this together. And the question obviously becomes, okay, well, even if the governor made calls and got commitments, right? Well, how do you get the money to the student athlete? Because I've had that. I've talked about that a ton. Like, all third-party NIL has to go through the clearinghouse and be approved. And that's true. But effectively, the way that this can happen now, and this is going to be fascinating to watch how this plays out. Let's say, hypothetically, I'm giving you a hypothetical. Let's say a business owner wants to contribute $1 million, or a donor, booster, whatever, supporter. And in the past, they could write a check to TAF, or in the collective era, could write a check to the collective, and the collective could just pay the players. Can't do that anymore. Well, now, instead of the individual writing a check, the individual writes a check from his or her business for a third-party NIL deal. Now, my question then would be, well, how can that deal, let's say it's $1 million, the clearinghouse isn't going to approve a deal for $1 million, right? But what if you took that $1 million and that grew the pot? And so now you're divvying up that $1 million over 40 deals, right? So the key here isn't necessarily getting one deal to supplement or fund an entire third-party NIL package. It's growing the pot, the total pot committed to third-party NIL to divvy up appropriately based on a player's name, image, and likeness value that can get approved through the clearinghouse. And I would not be surprised at all if that, in part, is a role the governor played here, maybe in encouraging some donors to contribute here to get this thing over the finish line. I'll tell you this. I know the governor took a lot of criticism, my hand's in the air. I believe he deserved criticism for the way he handled the Scott Woodward situation. I think he was part of causing a big mess. I think it is also undeniable that he wants LSU to win. It helps the state when LSU wins. And if LSU lands Jordan Seaton, Governor Landry will absolutely deserve a notch in the assist column for getting this one across the finish line. It's not done yet, but he could prove to be a very important ally for this football coach. And we've talked about it so much. The key word, alignment. Football coach, AD, university president, board of supervisors, governor. And remember, the president is appointed by the board or appointed by the board, but the board members are appointed by the governor. So if all of those things are aligned and everybody is rowing in the same direction, now you can make some headway. And if nothing else, take away from that visit on Monday with Jordan Seaton, his uncle, Lane Kiffin, Lane's nephew, at the governor's mansion on a Monday afternoon, the fact that this governor is committed to helping Lane Kiffin win football games. I don't care who you voted for. I've told you before, I genuinely don't care. And I criticize Governor Landry for the comments that he made, and I believe that warranted criticism. Similarly, if he's helping LSU land Jordan Seaton, he deserves a ton of credit and praise and an assist for that as well. Criticism when warranted, praise where it's due. And in this instance, I think Governor Landry deserves a hat tip for helping Lane Kiffin there try to land Jordan Seaton. Okay, so the other thing we have to talk about here, and we're running up against clock, is timeline. Can LSU still land these guys because this deadline to enroll is over? I'll answer that next. Locked in LSU, your team every day. Okay, so one of the things that I've mentioned repeatedly here, if you're an everydayer, you've heard me say it, is the deadline to, and I was told this, by the way, this isn't mine. This is from someone, let's say, intimately familiar with knowledge, familiar with how the interworkings of LSU athletically and academically may go. Okay, let's just say that. And this person on Sunday morning told me so this isn't my research. This is someone with intimate knowledge of how these things work. Okay. Tuesday is the last day to register for classes. Therefore, the roster we locked in for spring practice by Tuesday. So you've heard me say it repeatedly. That was the reason why Tuesday you needed Jordan Seaton and Princewill Umanmielen signed and enrolled. Because if you're not, and you could joke and say they're not really students, but they are. Like, you have to be enrolled in school to be able to play. And so if these guys want to participate in spring practice, they got to be enrolled in spring. Well, the deadline to enroll in the spring semester was Tuesday. Now, with all of this transpiring, Jordan Seaton going to Atlanta, Princewill Umanmielen still not officially in the transfer portal. Remember the quick Cliffs notes. Umanmielen announced his intention to go into the portal. Ole Miss has fought that because he has a contract. LSU, I'm told, will pay his buyout and a 7-figure rev share / third-party NIL number for Princewill Umanmielen. But Ole Miss was delaying submitting his paperwork to the NCAA, although they're legally obligated to do that. And if they waited until the end of the day Friday, well, Monday, the NCAA offices were closed due to the federal holiday. Tuesday, clearly his paperwork hasn't been processed yet, so that they're kind of up against the shot clock. Maybe Ole Miss submitted and his name pops in the portal on Wednesday, and he could officially then sign with LSU on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever that is. But the deadline seemingly is passed. So I did ask for clarification. And I had someone follow up and say about the Tuesday deadline to enroll. Said it's not 100% true. And these are the exact words because I wrote them down. But would be, quote, extremely complicated if not. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't work at the registrar's office. I graduated from LSU, but that's been 21 years ago that I graduated from LSU. So I don't know what that means. I'll work to get you some answers, and we'll see what may transpire. If maybe they pull a rabbit out of their hat, I don't know. But as I know more, I'll certainly share it with you. What I do know definitively true as of this moment, Jordan Seaton left LSU Tuesday morning without signing. He went to Atlanta. On Tuesday night, Lane Kiffin got on MMR's plane, flew to Atlanta to go see Jordan Seaton, then flew right back to Baton Rouge. Princewill Umanmielen, his name also not yet in the transfer portal, meaning LSU cannot officially sign him or LSU representatives officially contact him until his name's in the portal. So we'll continue to wait. If Umanmielen's name pops up in the portal Wednesday or Thursday and LSU officially adds him, great. Big question, would he still be able to participate in spring? That seems very much complicated and up in the air right now. As we learn more, I'll certainly share it with you. Okay. That's going to do it for us here on today's episode of Locked on LSU. So you know what to do. If you're on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching every single weekday if you are on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. And be sure to let a friend know if they love the Tigers. We got you here every single day for Locked on LSU. It is your team every day.